Hi guys, today we're going to try something a little bit different. I am going to try and make a resin, and resin is plastic, a plastic Numberblocks cube. And I've never tried this before, so it's a bit of an experiment. But I'll show you what I have, because I've been experimenting just with different techniques. And I have got this stuff, it's called epoxy resin. This is the one that I've chosen. You can get, there's loads of different brands, loads of different ones to try. This is just one that I found on eBay. I've also got some gloves, which I'm going to put on now, because you need gloves to protect your hands. This is something you have to be very careful with, because you don't want to get it on your skin, you don't want to get it everywhere, because it's plastic. You can make a mess. I'm sticking my gloves on right now. I've got some of these little plastic cups for mixing, and some disposable wooden spoons. I've also got some syringes, because you have to measure things out precisely. And then I've also got a few things I bought for this video, which is my glove on there, some of this stuff, which I don't know how it works because it's brand new, resin colorant, because if we start off and we try and make number one, of course we're going to need red. And apparently there's other ways to dye it, but I think I'm just going to use a red or a resin color. I don't know what these look like, I just have a little look. Okay, I'm going to tip them all out here. And I'm going to look for one that says red. There you go. Red. We'll use that one. We don't really need any of the colours, but you know, at least we have them anyway. And then this is the mould that I found on Amazon, because this is a perfect cube. It's quite a big cube. But the only thing is I nearly got an ice cube tray, but what I noticed with ice cube trays is that the bottom is not like a perfect cube like this, but you know, we'll try. So this particular kind of resin you have to heat up. So these are, you can see that they look a bit shiny because they've already been soaking in boiling hot water in a pan to get them nice and runny. Otherwise they're quite thick. Okay, so that's already been done. But you can buy some ones that don't need any kind of soaking. So I should move these colours out of the way, shouldn't I? They're going to get in the way in a bit. I think I need a little pouch for these. Which I'll find somewhere to put those in a moment. So what I'm going to do, because how this works is sometimes you get ones and they're 50-50, it means half and half. This was a ratio of 3:1, so that means we need 3 times more of this than this. So this is how I've been doing it. There might be better ways, but I can't think of any right now. So I'm trying to be precise. So I'm going to use the syringe. You can buy cups that have measuring marks here, and that would be a lot easier actually. But because I don't have that, I'm going to use a syringe because, you know, that's the best way I can. The next time I will probably not buy the plain ones, I'll buy the cups that have markings on them, because it makes things a little bit easier. So I'm going to have to remember, I'm going to put A on this side and B on this side. So I'm going to pour some of this stuff in now, which should be quite runny. It still feels quite warm. Ooh. I don't need to use too much, because what I figured is, I think the cube is quite big. So I'm going to pour it few times, probably two or 3 times, maybe 2, we'll see. I'm going to pour it separate times because I think if I pour the whole lot in, I don't think it will set properly, because I've been experimenting a few different things before making this video, just so hopefully we have a successful situation. But you know, this is going to be my mixing cup. The good thing is the B one is the slightly yellow colour, so we shouldn't get them mixed up. I'm going to do 15 ml of the clear stuff, solution A. That's 5, so I'm going to do 1. We're trying to do things quite, you do have quite a while, I think it's something like 40 minutes, so there's no need to rush. When you rush, that's when you get things like air bubbles, which you don't want. 2. So some of the air bubbles have come to the surface and they're popping. 3. Okay, so that's my 3:1 ratio in here. Now, where's my red colorant? I'm trying to see if there's any instructions, but what I have already read is that you shouldn't put too much in because it changes obviously the mixture. So I'm going to be very, that's 1 drop. Look at that, that's quite good actually. Just 1 drop. Okay, I'm going to guess that we need more than 1. Let me try 3 drops then. and I'm going to mix it. I'm going to mix it, stir it very gently, because again, you don't want to get too many air bubbles. And we need to mix this anyway for about 3 minutes to make sure it's properly blended. And also, it's probably going to be a little bit transparent anyway, but you know, I want it to set, put it that way. I don't mind if it's a bit transparent, but I do want it to set properly. Look at that, 3 drops has done quite a good job. I don't think you need to add more really, it's quite obviously red. I'm going to keep stirring now. Okay, so now I've mixed in that first layer. I'm going to choose a cube. I'm just going to choose this one, I think, in the corner here. See? And then I'm going to pour it in and see how much that covers. It might not be very much. Okay, that's not much at all. That's literally, I don't know if you can see it, that's like, I don't know, an eighth or something. I'm going to have to do a bit more, I think, over here all day. So I'm going to mix up the same amount again. Because the idea, what I'm going to do is, I decided I'm going to wait until the first layer turns a bit thick, almost like after a few hours, and then add the second layer then, rather than waiting for it to dry completely. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to do 15, and then I'll probably leave it for quite a while to dry. Okay, that's 2. I'm going to need another 5. That. Oops. And then do another 5 from here. Pour it in. And then we'll do exactly the same amount of colour, and hopefully it will set, because you know. 2, 3. And then again we need to do lots of mixing. And I think I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do 30 ml at a time until it's completely full, but it will be a few hours before this first layer sets or turns into that really thick coat, and I'm going to keep repeating it until it's full up to the top. Now I'm going to pour this in, and I'll probably leave it for at least 3 hours before I come back and add some more layers. So it's been around 5 days, and I had to add layers to this about 4 different times because it's so deep, and I've left it to make sure it's dried properly. I'm tapping the sides to make sure it's all gone hard, and it has. So let's push this out. Ooh! And it's come out pretty easily because the mold is silicone, which means it's not stuck at all, and it's looking a bit shiny. I'm going to show you the sides. Now I can see some problems with it. I can see there's some lines there between the different pores, and maybe that's because I didn't mix the pigment in properly, or maybe it's just slightly different, but I don't think it's too noticeable in the finished product. So now I'm going to try and draw the eye on. Now I did try to use the acrylic paint with this, but the acrylic paint doesn't want to stick to it because it is plastic, remember. So instead I'm going to use paint pens again, and it's a mixture of Posca paint pens and another brand that I have. So I'm just going to start by colouring in the eye of number 1. And it looks a bit patchy, but it's okay because we can go over it a few times until it looks nice and even. So I'm the white, and I'm using this plummy wine colour, which I've used before actually, to do number 1 around the eye. And I'm also sketching out the mouth with that colour. I don't have an exact match, I'm afraid. There's no super dark red or winey different shade of red in Posca pens, unfortunately. So I just have to use what I've got. I'm using this more white, and I'm gently adding a second layer because the thing about Posca paint pens, it does like to scratch off when you've done that first layer. So I'm just very gently topping it up. If you press too hard, it will scratch off the first layer that we've just added, and we don't want to do that. And I'm using a final white pen to add some teeth details, and then I'm going to gently add the eye. Again, the white underneath is quite fragile, so we're just going to kind of pat it on slowly and try and do the iris, or the pupil actually, because if we were too rough it would all scrape off. Just patting that on with a black paint pen until we're happy with the design. So add a tiny dot there for a little bit of shadow. Just, if you ever find that your paint pens don't work, just have some cardboard or paper nearby to dab them, just so they get flowing again. Just topping up any bits here which I think look a bit patchy. And there you have my finished number block number 1, made from resin. So I think it looks pretty cool, and it's quite heavy, so it could be used as a paperweight or something like that. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.